Today, I'm joined by Hannah Darby. Hannah's the director and founder of HD Marketing, which is a creative agency providing marketing services from conception to completion. So, hi, Hannah.
Hi there, Simon. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and you likewise. Hannah, tell us a little bit more about HD Marketing and what you do.
Yeah. So we are a marketing agency and we specialise in new homes. So we promote, market new developments all across really the south of England. We go up as high as probably sort of Birmingham, all the way down south coast and across. And we work with developers, small, large, and estate agents as well, helping them where we can, whether it's computer generated images, brochures, signage, digital campaigns. We are, I hate the term, but a one-stop shop. So they can come to us for everything and it takes the pressure off them because we could just hit the ground running and work with them. We look, we know the profile of buyer because we do all the research. So we are there to assist really and get the best prices and get their developments out there in front of people in the right way.
Brilliant, excellent. Okay, no, very good. And so let's go back to the beginning. So am I right in saying that you set up your business around, what was it? Well, actually, you've got it behind you on the wall there, 2010.
Well, that way. Yeah, 2010 I set up. So in January 2010, I'd already been in the property market sector previously so I've been in the industry now for about 28 years. Always pretty much property, and I just had an opportunity to set up on my own. The company I worked for previously, my MD sort of scaled down and decided to shut the business. So it was an opportunity for me to set up on my own with existing clients. So for them, it was like just an easy move because we just carried on as we were. It's just a different name above the door. So I retained pretty much all of the clients. They came on board. And, we've added to it and grown as we've gone along. So, yeah, in the last sort of 15 years.
Okay. So when taking us back to 2010, had you previously sort of thought, actually, I'd like to be a business owner, I'd like to own my business, or was it just circumstances and the events at the time that you thought, actually, this is a good opportunity?
Yeah, I think it was more circumstance. People had said to me over the years, you're doing so much, why don't you do it on your own? But, I was never going to go into competition against the company I was working for. They'd got, they'd been in business for a while. They'd got a good client base. So I didn't sort of like put that on the back burner, never really thought about it, was never going to do anything about it. And just so when it happened that the company went, just stopped, it was almost like it was the push that I probably needed. And it was an opportunity. I thought, actually, let's do it. Knowing the clients were already there and I wanted to support them. I didn't want them to be left in the lurch either. And I'd built up the relationships with them. I was the one that they were working with. So, I had that opportunity to set up and I did. And my husband and his partner run a printing business in this building I'm in now. That's a factory, it's 24/7 printing, litho and digital. So they have office spaces. So I had an office to move straight into. So a lot of things were in place for me to start. So, I know that's not always the way when people start a business, but for me, it just so happened that I was able to have an office straight away. I'd got printing in-house anyway. I'd got the clients. So it was just sort of building my brand and, the HD brand and getting it out there and building that business up.
Yeah, okay. And so if you can think back to sort of 2010, what did you expect it would be like sort of owning and running your own business? And a bit of a follow-up question to that is, what was it like in reality?
It's daunting because you end up, you have staff and they've got mortgages, they've got bills to pay, so you feel very responsible and you've got to make it work. So it was a bit daunting, but it was also exciting because it was an opportunity for me to do it my way. I'd sort of learned ways not to do it, and other ways that I would implement here. I was all about the relationships, so it was just making sure I just kept looking after the clients and building on new ones, and making sure that I was just giving a really good service to move forward, and people would want to come back, because it's, even though they know me, they know what I do. For me to prove that I could do it on my own, and show that I was going to be established after so long, and be able to look after them. So it was daunting, but it was exciting. In reality, it was great. I'm really, really chuffed that I did it, and I've made some amazing clients and friends along the way. We've got a lot of repeat business. We get a lot of referrals as well from other clients to other people. So it's good. But there's always obstacles for any business, and when you least expect them as well. And that's hard. It's how you deal with it. Whereas when you've worked for someone before, they deal with that, and then all of a sudden it's on your lap, and you've got to suddenly, and you have to do it most of the time quite quickly, and support staff and the team. But no, it is. I'm so pleased that I had the opportunity, and I grabbed it with both hands, and went forward with it. So I don't have any regrets, and
that's good. That's great to hear. That's great to hear. And look, you mentioned there about challenges. What would you say was the biggest challenge you've had to face being since you've been a business owner?
COVID.
Okay,
I think that's everyone's. But to be fair, being in the property industry, it was actually okay, because we were able to still do, because the house building industry was the first sort of sector to be able to come back. So we were able to, sort of carry on working. The market, because, if it's a really, really good market, well, you don't need somebody to help market the houses. So when it's a bad market, really bad, then people don't want to spend the money, even though it's probably the most important thing for them to do. So the market really does sort of dictate how things are going to go. The market's not great at the moment. It's it's Christmas around the corner, and it did slow down probably early November. But it's been one of those years with budget, election, interest rate cuts, mortgage prices going up. All of those things are obstacles. So they're probably the biggest obstacles. And then if you've got the work and the work's coming in thick and fast, it's staff. Making sure you've got the right team on board. And you've got enough people to manage the workload. I'd say they're the biggest obstacles.
And as a business owner, how do you sort of approach those challenges? Is there any particular things that you do to to adapt to those challenges? Because something you've highlighted there is, and you mentioned earlier, is challenges are always there. We're always going to come across them. So is there anything in particular that you've learned along your journey in terms of how you approach those challenges or deal with those challenges?
I suppose head on, really. It depends on what the challenges are. You just have to adapt, and adapt quickly, and think of ways that you can get through it. So if it's a difficult market, it's how we can introduce new marketing ideas that are more cost effective for clients, but still that are going to work and bring the inquiries in for them. It's just having to adapt. It really is. And it's just working the best way around, and having a bit of a brainstorm with your team and saying, right, this is where we are, what do you think we can do, how can we do this? And being in front of people as well, supporting them, because clients are going through a tough time when the market's bad. They're feeling the pressure. So it's being there as a support as well, and sort of saying to them, look, I can help if you need us to, we can do this, we can do that. I appreciate budgets are tight. We could come up with a payment plan or whatever it is. It's very much, it's adapting to whatever obstacle is thrown in our way.
I think that adapting is key, and I think we all got fed up with the term pivot over sort of COVID and that, but it's absolutely true, isn't it, to adapt to the environment that you're in. And I think actually what came across to me, as you were talking there, Hannah, is that thing of taking ownership of it, of a challenge, of actually sort of saying, well, look, we've got this challenge here, whether it's the market or you mentioned, if you're busy, your team and those sort of things. But right, okay, taking ownership for it, and what can we do? What's the
Yeah.
solutions to this? Rather than sticking your
Right.
head in the sand and sort of
Yeah.
like hoping that it'll go away or hoping that the market will change and come back. But yeah, so that's that, that's what jumped out to me when you sort of said that. And like, Hannah, you mentioned a couple of times your team there, and your business has grown over the since 2010. So when you started out, if you don't mind me asking, how many team members did you have when you first started out?
It was just two to
Two.
start.
Okay.
There's two of us, so a graphic designer and myself. And yeah, so it started off like that. And then as the business grew, then we brought in more people on board. And I think we got up to 14. And then COVID hit. And then unfortunately, we had to, make some adjustments and shrink the business down. So there's now 8 of us. So and they vary. We've got CGI artists, we've got digital, web developers, graphic design, copywriting, social media managers, myself. So yeah, so we're cover most areas. So yeah, no, and they're a great team. They're fantastic. They all pull together. We're a great collective. We've all got our strengths, and we all work really, really well together. So
Okay. And look, since when you started out and you and your graphic designer and to now, how has your role in the business changed?
I was very, very hands-on to start with, had to be. I still am now. I love it, and that's me. And and I have the relationships with the client as well. So in a way, I suppose they buy into me and the business because that I've got to know them over the years. I'm not blowing my own trumpet. I'm just saying that I have the relationship. I'm the one that's going out day to day, but I couldn't do it without the team because it's teamwork at the end of the day. But yeah, I think as the team grew, I had to then take a bit of a step back and let other people take certain roles because I couldn't micromanage everybody, and I shouldn't be doing that. But now we've shrunk back down again, but very much everyone manages their own departments. I'm more of a client facing side of it, but working alongside the team. So yeah, it changed along the way quite a bit.
So your sort of main role at the moment is that client facing and leadership, I guess, leading and managing the team. So what would you say has been your biggest learning since you've been in business?
Crikey. I suppose it's not expecting everybody to be like you are. Everybody's very, very different. Some people along the way in terms of doing work for people, you expect everybody to be, kind and, pay their bills on time. Then, that doesn't always happen. It's almost like I think everyone's going to be, honest and, have that integrity, but not always, in business. A lot of people want something for nothing and, being too, I suppose, being too nice, doing things for, out of goodwill, I suppose, and things like that, and then coming a cropper afterwards when they don't want to pay their bill or something like that, and I've just done all the work. But that's because at the end of the day, I wanted to do the work for them because I believed in what we did, and they said all the right things and did it all the right way. It just so happened at the end that they were, they went to ground. So I suppose that's the hardest thing is trusting people really to do the right thing. But
And I think that's a common thing with businesses when they start out smaller, because it is all about actually, we'll do that and we'll do that. And it's not so much about, okay, well, we need a contract to do this, and these are our terms and these are our conditions. It's very much, but actually as a business grows, it actually, as you say, it's that learning of actually we do need those contracts in place and those agreements in place. And I've worked with a number of construction companies that have come up with similar issues where it's been very much sort of a friend of a friend of a friend or whatever it is, do some work for them, unfortunately don't get paid, and it can be completely.
that's exactly what it is, so we've got systems in place, and so that doesn't happen. But I think when you do start up, you want to do everything. You don't want to say no to anything, and you think, oh, it's only a small job, but those small jobs, they add up, and it's still, at the end of the day, you've got staff to pay, you've got bills to pay. And yeah, so I'd say that was probably one of the biggest learning curves, really. There's probably a few others, but that's the one that just stands out.
And look, you've sort of already mentioned it there in a way, but in terms of how you overcame that sort of learn, which is you've mentioned about putting a system in place. So tell us a little bit more about the systems that you've introduced, because I mean you don't need to list them out, but having systems in place and what you found to be the benefit of that in your business.
I suppose if it's anybody that's new that we're doing work for, we obviously do checks on them, make sure that they are who they are. We depending on what the work is, we'll get them to pay 50% upfront and then 50% before we deliver, so that we know that we're getting everything in. We will send out T&Cs, and we list things on the quotes as well to make sure that they know exactly how we operate. Existing clients, we'll have people that are on retainers, so we've got a contract in place with them. And other jobs, that it's always part of the T&Cs. So it's just new clients that we always ask for 50% and then the final amount before we release any information or release any final artwork.
Yeah, and I like that, because I think what that sort of demonstrates, so the underlying thing there is that having the confidence to say, look, we want 50% upfront.
Yeah.
Because a lot of businesses, when they start out, don't have either the confidence or are worried that they might lose the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is tough.
Yeah, having that confidence to say that and say, no, we need this, and also having that system and structure in place, and having the confidence to stick to it.
Yes.
Say, no, this is our process. This is what we do. This is what we're going to follow, because we often find it's when we deviate from our systems and processes that we can get bitten if things go wrong, because we didn't follow our system or our process. So yeah,
exactly. You do have to stick with it, and yeah, you do have to have confidence with it. And I think as we've grown and we've been around a lot longer, I think now I'm more confident in it. And I think people understand that a lot of customers are in the same boat. If they have to get a supplier to do something, they might have to pay up front. So we aren't getting much kickback from it. We see people like absolutely, or they ask, what are your payment terms? Do you need 50% up front? So so we actually, so it's completely reversed now. So we are getting people to say, can we pay you before you do the work? Which is great.
Absolutely. And yeah, no, that's great. Look, great piece of advice there. So look, Hannah, there's one question that I like to ask everybody that's kind enough to sort of come on this this sort of discussion with me, and that is, what's the best advice that you would give to an 18-year-old you? So if you could go back and speak to yourself when you were 18, what would you say to yourself?
I'd say don't beat yourself up. And go for what you want. Believe in yourself and aim high. Definitely. So because, at that age, you just think, you're a bit wary, a bit wet behind the ears, and think, I'm not going to be good enough, or I can't do that, because actually, yeah, you can totally. I never thought for 1 minute I'd be doing something like this. And I think it's brilliant. I think everybody can do what they want to do. You just got to put your mind to it and believe in yourself, 100%.
So believe in yourself, go for it. Have the confidence to go for it as well. I like this. That's some great advice. Thank you very much. Well, look, Hannah, thank you very much for sort of joining us today, and I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me and sharing more about your business and also your journey. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and yeah, thank you.